There is a very simple and easy way that you can ethically and legally steal your competitors' best performing ads to apply them to your own campaigns using AI that is extremely easy, practical, quick to apply, and requires zero technical expertise. So that specifically, you can identify ads that your competitors are running that are actually successful, steal the elements that they are using within those ads that are making them successful, and then turning them into profitable ads for your brand. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Stephen. I am the founder of a company called Studio Flow. For the last 5 years, we have designed thousands and thousands of high performing winning ad creatives for over 125 different businesses in multiple different industries that include crypto, SaaS, ecom, professional services, and loads more. So every single brand needs this process to scrape your competitors' creative. Now, spending 5 years in this industry, advertising and specifically advertising creative, has taught me that originality is actually massively overrated. You don't need to reinvent the wheel and spawn a new genius idea out of thin air in order to be successful. Now, that does not just apply to ad creatives. There are multiple lessons in there. Now, there are already hundreds and hundreds of companies out there spending thousands and thousands, sometimes even millions of dollars on ads. So why would you not just take what they're already doing, make it better, and make it more relevant to your brand? Now, in this video, I'm going to be covering how to find competitor ads that are winning, the exact AI prompts you need to break down what makes those ads work, how to turn that into dozens of proven concepts, turning those concepts into test-ready ads without the need for a $100,000 a year designer, and then how to test them to validate their effectiveness. I'm also going to be giving away all of the prompts that I'm using, as well as all the resources that you need in order to do this. And just to be crystal clear, before anyone thinks this or mentions this, this is not about copying anyone. We are not here to do any plagiarism or copy any competitors whatsoever. We are trying to understand what's already working through things that have already been done, and then use those insights to create specific ads relevant to your audience only. Now, this practice has been going on since the dawn of time in terms of taking what's already working and kind of recycling that and rehashing it relevant to your company. But with AI, it just means we can do it faster now. So first things first, step one, where to find the ads. Now, just because an ad exists doesn't mean it's performing. It doesn't mean it's converting well, and it doesn't mean it's actually a winning ads. So of course, we only want to focus on the ads that we know for a fact are scaling, because if they're not, what's the point in copying the elements from them? Now, the way we can do this is by simply seeing the ones that our competitors are spending the majority of their budget on. So here are some tools that you can use from free to paid. First things first, we have the Meta ad library, 100% free. If you don't know already what this looks like, I'm sure most of you do, but this is Meta's own tool. So you can basically see every single ad that someone is running. If you head over to the ad library and simply type in the competitor that you have, you will see all of their active ads. And to use this the most effectively, you can look at the active time of an ad. So obviously the longer it's been running, the more money the brand is spending on the ad, which means the higher the likelihood of it working. Just to pull this up and to show you exactly what this looks like, I will pull up the ad library right now so you can see. Heading over to the Facebook ad library, of course, first things first, you want to filter this. I do by all because this is global, but of course, if you want to filter this to any specific country, you can do that. Ad category, you want to select as all ads. And for the purposes of this, let's select Here's Earplugs, the most recently searched company here. So as you can see, we have all of the ads that they're running. You can see exactly when they were launched. You can see all of the creatives that they launched this month. You can scroll down and you can see a little bit further all of the different types of ads they have running. They have a lot of different ads that they've launched, going back to March 2025, going back even further to February and so forth, all the way back to December 2024. Now, bear in mind, first of all, this has been automatically filtered to active ads. You can turn off this filter, so then more ads will come up, but this will also show ads that are no longer running. But obviously, we want to make sure that we're seeing the ads that are running, because the fact that they are still running means that, of course, they are still effective. So you want to go back to filters and make sure you have active ads selected. Now, you can filter here specific languages. You can filter specific platforms, obviously within the Meta ecosystem. You can also look at different media types, images, memes, images and memes, videos. One thing I will say is that this filtering isn't actually the most effective. If you select images, sometimes they don't actually come up. But of course, you can also, as you can see here, select the date range. But for now, I'd recommend just filtering by active ads, so you can see all of the ads that a brand currently has running. What you want to be looking for here is this little metric, total active time. So you can see that this was launched on the 10th of April, which means it's been running for 22 hours. So this is a recently launched ad, which means, of course, We don't know yet whether it's going to work. They as a brand probably don't know yet because they've only just launched it. What I would recommend doing is just going as far back as you possibly can, looking at the oldest ad that is still running, all the way back to, I think it was December 2024 for these guys. As you can see, further and further, we can now see like this ad literally started running on the 8th of December. So this is the oldest running ad they have. This one here, the 29th of December, we can see straight away that they're still running these ads. They're still putting budget behind these ads that they launched in January, like literally months and months ago, which means there's a very good chance these are still converting well. You can click on this button to see ad details. As you can see here, this is like a really, really effective because they're promoting the earplugs, but they're using like The Guardian, a prominent newspaper in the UK, and doing this as like a newsletter and a newspaper style, as it were, which obviously is a great way to stand out. So again, like I'd be looking at that straight away to see the insights that you can gain from doing so. Next up, we have 4play.co, which just for reference is around $97 a month. What this does is it gives you all of the meta ad library capabilities, but with more of an ability to filter further and in more depth, basically. In my opinion, the most useful filter is the fact that you can sort by the longest running ad. So obviously you can easily find the winner. Again, a bit like the ad library, but just in a bit more depth. Let me show you what that looks like. So this is what it looks like inside of 4play. Obviously, just to remind you, I am on the paid plan here. You will need to sign up for that $97 a month plan to be able to get access to this. But we have a couple of different features here. We have like this discovery feature, which is the most relevant. You can see community feed. So all of the ads that people within the 4play community have saved. But if you head over to brands, you can see all of these different brands that are running ads that have been saved on 4play. You can see how many ads that have been saved. Obviously, for a lot of them, they have hundreds of thousands. Again, you can just go and filter this by niche. So if you want to select, for example, only brands that are in the tech industry, for example, and as you can see, we have loads and loads of different brands. So just for the purposes of demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and select back market to show you what that looks like. And then as you can see, this brings all of the ads that people have saved that they have running. So the filtering here is a lot more effective. You can select the format, platform, language, status, and niche. The format here is actually effective compared to the ad library. So for example, you might want to select image so you can see the static ads that they have running. And then as you can see, you can select a certain period of time. So you can say for the last year, you can apply this, and then you can filter by longest running. So as you can see, this ad right here, of course, it's in German, I think, has been running for, what's that? Nearly 2 years. So we know for a fact that this is going to be the most effective ad because it's been running for ages. So this style, for example, where they have this neon background with the headline, the logo, and then this very sort of abstract imagery is obviously successful for back market. So if I was one of their competitors, I'd be looking at doing something similar. Maybe this style here, we can see this is working with the dark green and then the graphic and then the actual product they are selling, the Apple Watch. They've obviously repeated this for a multitude of different products. And this style here running for 425 days, we can basically see the most effective ads and obviously the longest running ads. So would definitely recommend checking out 4play, really effective tool. And then finally we have AdSpy, $150 a month. This is more of a premium option, obviously, but it covers more platforms. You can look across Google, TikTok, and other platforms and so forth. And it gives you more historical data so you can go further back. The UI, the UX, the style, the design of the platform is more complicated, but obviously this is facilitated for deeper research. If you go to AdSpy, I would recommend filtering by first seen and then at least 30 days ago. So then you can see the ones that are recent, but then you can sort by recently seen. So you can basically see the ads that have been running the longest, but are still active. So then step 2 is reverse engineering using ChatGPT. And there are 3 specific things that you want to focus on here. When you have those ads saved, so you've used those platforms, whether it's the Meta Ads Library, 4play, AdSpy, whichever one it may be, you've picked 3 to 5 of your competitors' ads that are running that you think are effective. Of course, you need to understand why they're effective. And the way we're going to do that is by using AI. And this is where ChatGPT comes in. Now, there are 3 prompts that I'm going to run you through here so we can extract different things from the ads. The basic structure, the visual elements, and the audience psychology. So we can understand what the overall structure of the visual is, the triggers and the pain points within that are being used in the ad. Then how to actually understand the visual strategy. So what emotional impact, what psychological principles are being used from a visual perspective. And then from an audience perspective, we want to look at like why the messaging is resonating with the audience, why that company's specific audience are likely to be resonating with this imagery. So we have 3 very specific prompts that you can go and use for each of these. And I'm going to be taking you over to ChatGPT so I can show you exactly what that looks like. Okay, so over in ChatGPT right now, I've taken 4 ads that back market are running as previously shown on Foreplay. This is what the prompt looks like. So you are now a world-class direct response copywriter who is responsible for writing ads that have collectively generated over $500 million in revenue. I'm going to share with an ad. I'm going to share with you, so typo on my end, an ad ran by one of my company's competitors that has been running successfully for the past 30 days. After reviewing the ad, using your rich experience, I need you to break down why this ad worked in extreme detail. Specifically, I want you to analyze the exact structure, the main emotional trigger, the pain point they're addressing, the unique mechanism they're using to solve it, the proof elements that build credibility, the call to action approach, the specific language patterns. I'm expecting you to be extremely specific, but also giving me actionable insights I can use to create my own ads. The ads have been attached to this image. Please now proceed. So as you can see now, we have the prompt and the outcome, the output that ChatGPT is giving us. So first of all, we have this ad one, Galaxy S21 5G refurbished, which is this ad that I saved from Foreplay. Exact structure of the ad, the hook, a visually appealing product shot of the Samsung Galaxy S21 with clear, bold pricing. Talks about the problem. It implicitly addresses the problem of high cost associated with premium smartphones, which it does here because obviously we have the discount. Then we have the agitation. So the original price stands out because it kind of creates urgency and emphasizes the savings. This is true. Solution offers a high quality refurbished premium product at a significantly lower price. Price anchoring. Clear comparison between new and refurbished pricing as the credibility, and then we have an implicit strong visual of the brand, which is something to suggest immediate action. A main emotional trigger is greed value. Consumers feel they're getting a high-end product at an extreme discount. Specific pain point, high price of the new premium tech devices, specifically smartphones. Unique mechanism is a refurbished premium tech, clearly differentiated by massive cost savings. Proof elements, so we have the comparative pricing, and then we have the call to action as mentioned. In terms of languages and persuasion techniques, simple direct numerical comparison creates immediate credibility. Price contrast uses visual psychology, and minimalist design ensures clarity. This is very effective. Then as you can see here, ad two, we have when your kid dumps milk on it, which is this ad. When your kid dumps milk on it, you'll be glad you saved 70% versus new. Obviously a lot to go into here. Main emotional trigger, fear of wasting money because of accidental damage, also relates to commonly experienced pain points. Specific pain point is it's costly to repair or replace when you have an expensive tech premium electronic that is going to be inevitably damaged by these daily family incidences. Unique mechanism is the affordability and the refurbished tech, which reduces risk and anxiety that people have when buying something of this premium nature. We have the specific saving, which quantifies the value, call to action, and so forth. And then, language-wise, persuasion-wise, it's casual, it's humorous, it's empathetic, it appeals directly to parents and their daily experiences, and we have relatable scenarios that are being created. Vivid, relatable imagery, which is the dumps milk, and that obviously will trigger sensory imagination. Parents have probably experienced that to some extent, or they have experienced something similar, or they can imagine that they will experience something similar. So it really does resonate with people emotionally. Then we have a couple of others. I won't dive into these, but with this prompt, you can see exactly what this looks like and how this goes ahead and gives the value that you need so you can basically understand what is working so well about your competitors' ads, just from a basic structural perspective. And then secondly, we have the visual analysis. So we can look at why it's working from a visual perspective. Again, let me take you back into ChatGPT and show you how to use this prompt for those same 4 ads by backmarket. So just for the purpose of this prompt, I'm just going to be doing the one ad that I shared back in Foreplay, which is this bright abstract visual, this imagery that backmarket are using. You are now a world-class expert in visual advertising and very specifically consumer psychology. You understand why an ad creative converts so well just by looking at its visuals and have developed the ability to concisely explain why. I've attached an image of a competitor's ad that they have been running that's been scaling successfully. What I need you to do is analyze the specific visual elements that are driving attention, psychological principles that are being leveraged in the design, how the visuals connect to and enhance the copy, what emotions these visuals target, and how I could create similarly effective visuals without copying. I'm expecting you to be extremely specific, but also giving me actionable insights I can use to create my own ad. So again, let's run this through, see what it comes up with. So then as you can see, it's starting to spit out the response here. Here's a highly specific breakdown and actionable insights based on your ad creative. Visual elements driving attention. So it's got the bold neon color palette, which is straight away capturing attention in the feed because, it stands out. It's got a very vibrant nature. Dynamic abstract art. These distorted, exaggerated figures, as it were, create this intrigue and curiosity, which forces users to pause and interpret what they're seeing. Surreal composition, floating laptop, unusual angles, distorted human figures, disrupt conventional expectations, especially for a product like Back Market, I will just add. Obviously, they're selling tech, it's not what you'd expect to see. And then despite that, the laptop is still centrally positioned and clearly visible, which is a very effective way to communicate the product. As you can see, it's still in the middle. Psychological principles leveraged, visual novelty, the von Restorff effect, not sure what that is, but unconventional neon color scheme differentiate this ad strongly from typical product-centric visuals, increased attention, ambiguous, surreal imagery makes people curious, the fluency and the processing speed. It's still simple and easy to process the laptop, basically, so people still instantly recognize the product, which makes it nice and clear. There's a lot of clarity. Cognitive contrast. The contrast between chaos and the order, so the abstract and the laptop, increases and amplifies viewer perception of the product as stable and trustworthy within an unpredictable environment. Might be a bit of a reach there, but still something to consider. We have the connection between the visuals and the ad copy. We obviously have this translated here, emotions targeted, so curiosity, intrigue, excitement, surprise, trust, and assurance, and how you can create similarly effective visuals, leverage surreal or abstract imagery, use distinct color palettes, focus on dynamic contrast, and incorporate visual metaphors. So yeah, we also have optimized product placement. It's still spitting out this response, slightly slower with this new model, but it gives you really, really in-depth responses. So as you can see, a really, really good way again here to look at the visuals, why it worked, and how you can do something similar for your brand. And then finally, we have the audience psychology. So again, let me take you back into ChatGPT and run you through this prompt. Okay, so we have you're a consumer psychologist who specializes in understanding audience motivations. I want you to use advanced psychological tactics to systematically dismantle an ad creative that is currently being ran by one of my competitors. I need you to help me understand who is the exact target audience, what are their primary fears, frustrations, and desires related to this product, what objections would they likely have, what stage of awareness does this ad target, why would this messaging resonate with the audience. Remember to act like an expert on the topic of consumer psychology, but when explaining your findings, keep things short, casual, and clear. Now, for the purpose of this, I've gone for Chime rather than Back Market just to switch it up. Open a Chime checking account in 2 minutes. We'll spot you up to $200, obviously using a lot of different psychological aspects. So again, let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so now we have the breakdown of the Chime ad using consumer psychology. Exact target audience, younger, digitally savvy adults, 18 to 35, Gen Z, millennials, early stage financial independence, possibly first-time banking users or those dissatisfied with banks. Then we have the fears, the frustration, and the desires. So fear of the fees, running out of money, financial embarrassment, complexity and slowness of normal banks, and they want a quick setup, financial safety net, simplicity, transparency, and easy-to-use banking solutions. We have the objections that the ad is addressing. Explicitly states in 2 minutes, which obviously overcomes the objection of taking too long to set up. It also says spot you up to $200, so that kind of like promises and overcomes the objection of I have to deal with the overdraft fees. And then it cites best banking app for beginners with this kind of like recognition award bit here, which overcomes the objection, of course, is this company trustworthy? Stage of awareness, so it thinks it's the problem to solution aware. So the audience knows they dislike traditional banking and they have the frustrations already, but they potentially don't have the solution, as it were, and Chime is positioning themselves as the solution. Why this messaging resonates, so it taps directly into immediate financial stress, simplicity, and leverages third-party credibility to alleviate trust concerns. It's concise, directly speaks their language, and visually reinforces benefits. So yeah, as you can see, we have 3 extremely strong prompts here that you can use. You can combine them, you can do them in the same chat. Of course, you can do them separately and reprompt every time, but the purpose of this is to reverse engineer your competitors. Obviously, the more context you give it, the more ads that your competitors are running that you feed into ChatGPT every time, the more rich insights and the better quality insights that you're going to get in order to use for the next step, which is using ChatGPT to actually generate new ads. So then when you understand why your competitors' ads are working, you then need to go and create your own based on the same principles. Now, there are 3 main elements here that we can use, which is hook generation, full ad copy generation, and visual generation. These are the prompts. You can generate good hooks, you can generate ad copy, and you can use the same thing for visual generation. So you can specifically use what you've identified and analyzed from your competitor winning ads to actually come up with 10 completely new, original, compelling hooks for your product. You can do the same to write the entire copy. And then finally, you can actually create the image. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to go through and use every single prompt. I will let you test these, but I will show you what the create image visual generation prompt looks like. So again, I'm going to copy this prompt, I'm going to take it into ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you exactly what the output looks like. So now we have the prompt inside of ChatGPT. Now bear in mind at this stage, as of recording, you have to use ChatGPT 4.0, not 4.5. This is what you need for the image generation. So you want to click on these three dots to select create image, which is what this will come up as. I need you to create 5 completely original ad creatives based on these insights from my product's competitor. Then I have pasted a summary of the outcome from the previous generation prompt, which was the psychological insights. I have attached 4 ads that are currently being ran by my competitor, using Chime as the example and attaching those ads for you to use as inspiration. Now, bear in mind, for the purposes of this, I have used the example of Revolut because they are Chime's competitor. The ads that you need to create need to be on brand and visually accurate to my company Revolut. So I've attached one of our previous ads to give you an idea of what our branding looks like. And as you can see, we have the Revolut ad here. My product is then I've just taken the description of Revolut, which helps. And then again, I've taken the target audience of Revolut, and then I have manage and optimize their finances, which is basically the dream outcome. So you need to have my product is what your product is, which helps your target audience achieve what their outcome and their dream outcome is. We need a completely fresh set of creatives leveraging the insights from what's working with Chime's ad for us to test, while ensuring they are still compelling, scroll stopping, and completely original. The final prompt should look like a professional artist combined with a direct response copywriter's attempt of designing 5 custom ads for my product. And for a bit more context here, I'm just going to change this to Revolut. So yeah, let's see what this will do. So then now, as you can see, it has given us the image. Revolut, open a Revolut checking account in 2 minutes will spot you $200. Obviously, it's the same copy, but taken for Revolut, keep it on brand. Bear in mind that you will need to give it the prompt of the copy that you want it to use inside the ad as well. And of course, do bear in mind that it can only prompt and give you one specific ad at a time. So every time this happens, you need to go back and ask for the next one. Obviously, we have another variation here, we have another variation here, and you just want to repeat this as many times as you need to in order to generate the image. So as you can see, this is what the prompt looks like for visual generation using the insights that you have taken from your competitors' ads. So you can literally create something on brand for your own brand in order to ensure that you are leveraging the insights for what is working for your competitors. Now, bear in mind as well, super important to note, obviously ChatGPT's prompt and image generation abilities are very impressive, but there are a few things to bear in mind to keep the quality as high as possible. Be as specific as possible. So be extremely specific about what you want in the image, which does include the copy. Specifically specify high resolution professional quality in order to obviously get the best quality and best resolution images that you can put in your ad campaigns, and then include your brand color. So use the actual hex codes, which is like hashtag 64F3PY or whatever it may be, which is the actual color that you need to be using in the brand to actually give the ChatGPT the idea of what it should look like to ensure that it is fully on brand. So then step 4 is launching and testing your ads. So when you have these new ads that are inspired by competitors and what is working for them, you then need to set up a proper way of testing those ads so that you can quickly identify what's working and what isn't. Now, a lot of brands make the mistake here because they either don't test enough, they test too much, they make decisions too quickly, or they make decisions conversely too slowly. So here's a framework to do this correctly. First things first, we have the initial setup. So set the campaign objective to conversions. This is what I always do. It's what I always recommend doing, but obviously if you have something different, then that is down to your preference. Start with the most proven audiences. So take an audience that you already have running that has been proven to work well. Set a budget per ad set. I'd recommend a minimum of $200 per day if you are serious about scaling. Run this for a minimum of 7 days. The simplest approach for testing this is using one batch with the same hook and different visuals, another batch with the same visuals but a different hook, and then another batch with the same message in different formats. From a metrics perspective, in the first stage, just look at the engagement. So how many people are clicking, what is the overall engagement rate, and then as you go further on in the test, focus more on the conversion metrics. So what is the CPA? If it's a D2C product, what's the add to cart rate? Obviously the purchase rate. If it's more of like a B2B product, how many demos are being scheduled, and so forth. And then from a decision-making perspective, very simple, very baseline. If the CTR is below 0.8%, remove that ad. If it's between 0.8 and 1.2, give it a bit more time. And then if it's above 1.2, scale it with more spend. Now, just to give you an insight into AI automation, if you want to take this further to the next step, this is slightly more advanced. If you have the capacity, you have the ability and the technical capability to be able to do this, you can basically build an AI agent to do this whole process for you so you don't have to do any of this yourself. This video is not on how to set up an AI agent to scrape competitor ads for you, so I'm not going to be going into this too extensively and diving into it in too much depth. But if you want to do this summarized, you can set up an automated system to check competitor ads, which means using AdSpy's alert feature, which will essentially notify you every single time a competitor that you are actually spying on launches a new ad. You can set up a very simple basic Python script to scrape the Facebook ad library at the same time, or do it every single week, however often you want to, and then use ChatGPT's API to automatically analyze that new competitor ad as they are launched. Then you can connect the API to a simple Google Sheet. You input all of the insights from your competitors, use a prompt to automatically come up with new concepts, copy images based on those insights, then get ChatGPT to reformat that specific to different placements, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Instagram story, Facebook, Twitter, wherever it may be, obviously each requiring different sizes, formats, etc. And then you can connect back to Facebook API to create new variations based on performance data. The API from Facebook can feed the performance data to ChatGPT, so you can use ChatGPT to analyze the performance, what worked, what didn't, and generate new variations based off of that. And then you can create like an overall feedback loop to test, to analyze, and to refine to ensure that every single thing that you create going forward from a copy and a visual perspective is better than the previous. So now we have some very easy to use resources, tools, and prompts. So just as a takeaway, this is everything that you need to implement this immediately. All the prompts will be available, and I will discuss this towards the end of the video, how you can actually download these. But from a resource tool perspective, research-wise, Facebook Ad Library is completely free, as you probably know, but has a very basic interface. It's the best way to kind of see what's running now. It's the single best place to start, in my opinion. I would also recommend Foreplay very highly. As I said, $97 a month. It has better filters, better user interface specifically for Meta. If you want something more in-depth, AdSpy, but as I said, that's $150 a month. For the ad creation itself, ChatGPT is the foundation of this method, specifically GPT-4, which is around $20 a month for the actual creation of the ad. Claude is a good alternative, not for the image generation, it can't do that, but for the analytical aspect of breaking down why an ad worked, I would recommend trying it for that sort of thing. You could try Midjourney if you really don't want to use ChatGPT for the image generation, but it is not as good. And then from a design perspective, I'd recommend Canva Pro. It's around $12 a month. You can take the ads that ChatGPT has given you and just maybe make a few tweaks to them, basically, if you want to change any elements. If your design skills are limited, this is by far the best option. You can also use Figma, but as a whole, I'd recommend Canva Pro. So then, to give you a summary, a reminder, how to implement this process. Identify competitor ads that have been running for at least a month. Use the ad analysis prompt to understand why they work. Generate 10 new hooks based on these platforms. Use the ChatGPT prompts I have given you to create some visuals. Edit them when necessary if you need to make a few tweaks to make them a bit more on brand, or change the copy using either Canva or Figma. Launch each of those creatives in a new ad set. Evaluate performance after around a week. Kill the losers, scale the winners, and create new variations. And if you would like my help personally implementing this, if you're spending more than $5,000 per month on ads right now, my company, we will help you, and we will provide you with batches of AI-generated ad concepts. And then we will fully produce all of those approved concepts by our in-house design team. Then we will build you a proper testing framework to implement those concepts, provide you with consistent creative refreshes so that you never run out of ads again, based on what your competitors are doing and what is working in the market, with multiple different angles and different messages in every format and size. So if you're interested, head to our website, which is studio-flow.co, or you can click the link here in the document. This entire process that we run for you will take you personally less than 5 hours of your time per month. And unlike most creative agency, we don't have any high ticket retainer. There's no long-term commitment. We're not going to be charging you a percentage of ad spend. It's a very simple one-time payment for these packages. We have used this system, like I said at the start, to help over 125 brands generate 8 figures of revenue. And there is a guaranteed success rate with this method if you apply it correctly as per our instructions. So if you're interested in learning more, the link is here. As I said, you can head to studio-flow.co, or it will also be the first link in the description of this video. Book a call with us. We will go through your current situation to identify whether it's going to be a good fit for you, if it's relevant for where your brand is at from a spend perspective. It's not going to be a hard sales call. We're just going to be trying to figure out whether it makes sense, yes or no, as simple as that. And then, yeah, if you'd like to implement this system, I'd recommend you either do that so we can implement it for you, or if you'd like to do it yourself, you can download this document and the prompts. The second link will be in the description below the link to our website. I really hope you found this video valuable. Obviously, I'm kind of leaning more towards the AI stuff right now because I know how top of mind and relevant this is. I want to provide as much value as possible so you can take away the stuff that I'm giving you, go and apply it yourself and get real value from it. If there's anything else that you'd like to see from me, leave a comment, drop me a message or whatever it may be. I would really, really appreciate it if you did find value from this and if you found it useful, that you liked the video, you commented if you did, and you subscribed to the channel. That would really help us going forward. As always, I appreciate it and I will see you in the next video.